Analysts are dropping their alerts. Whales are moving silently beneath the surface. Retail traders are staring at their screens, wondering if they are early or already too late. But what am I even talking about? Well, let me explain. Today we're breaking down one big question. Can Shiba Inu realistically climb to 5,000 units in the coming years, or is it pure fantasy? Stay tuned as we unpack the story. Welcome to Dr. Crypto, your daily serving of Shiba. This is the spot for you if you're curious about anything related to Shiba. If you want to keep informed about all the latest news forecasts and stay ahead of the crypto industry, subscribe. To get more Shib news, be sure to click the like button. Please note that by the time you see this video, some rates may have changed. Financial advice is not included in this video. Shiba Inu is a decentralized meme-style cryptocurrency launched in August 2020 by an anonymous creator known as Ryoshi, riding on the popularity of dog-themed coins. It lives on the Ethereum network, started as a joke, and quickly turned into one of the largest meme assets in the market. The token's circulating supply today is around 589 trillion units, with a market cap close to $5.1 billion and a 24-hour trading volume near $137 million. The entire meme coin sector's capitalization sits around $52 billion, with daily volume near $5.45 billion as of mid-November 2025. That means Shiba Inu still commands a meaningful share of the meme coin universe, but it also competes with many newer tokens for liquidity and attention. So when we talk about Shiba Inu reaching 5,000 units, we are really asking whether this meme-driven, community-powered asset can climb several multiples from where it trades right now in a crowded and maturing market. Recent price data shows Shiba Inu closing around the equivalent of 871 units on November 19, 2025. That puts the token well below the dreamed-of 5,000 unit line, but still above the deep bear market lows of late 2022 and early 2023. Near-term forecasts from market analysts suggest Shiba Inu's price in November 2025 is likely to stay between a minimum equivalent of about 863 units and a maximum close to 882 units, indicating a tight trading range in the very near term. This points to consolidation rather than a sudden moonshot. Some bullish outlooks have floated scenarios in which Shiba Inu could reach the equivalent of 6,390 units as a 2025 upside target and potentially 32,100 units by 2030 under extremely optimistic conditions. Those numbers go well beyond the 5,000 unit mark, but they are framed as stretch goals, not base cases. At the same time, the ecosystem itself is not standing still. The project's Layer 2 network, Shibarium, has seen upgrades, community burn campaigns are running, and developers continue to push for new integrations that might support long-term demand for the token. All of these factors feed directly into the question of whether 5,000 units is attainable. Current market data places Shiba Inu's market cap just above $5.1 billion, with daily trading volumes in the low hundreds of millions range. The token sits in the mid-30s globally by market capitalization. This shows active trading, but not the kind of frenzy seen during the peak meme coin mania of 2021. Recent daily candles show Shiba Inu bouncing in a narrow band around 870 units, with intraday swings, but no decisive breakout. That fits the picture of a market in consolidation. Traders are positioning, but neither bulls nor bears are fully in control. Short-term forecasts that place Shiba Inu between roughly 863 and 882 units reinforce this neutral view. Modest upside and downside are both on the table, but the core scenario is sideways action while the market digests macro news and Bitcoin's next moves. For a move toward 5,000 units, this calm backdrop would eventually need to give way to strong momentum. Across the meme coin sector, the broader category has recently dipped, with market capitalization and volume both slipping. In that environment, even positive Shiba Inu developments struggle to translate into immediate explosive price action. On-chain data from Shibarium shows daily transactions recently jumping by about 78%, climbing from roughly 2,430 to 4,330 after previously dropping as low as 1,500 in early November. This rebound suggests renewed interest from builders and users on the Layer 2 chain. Burn statistics show that more than 184 million tokens were destroyed in a single day recently, causing the daily burn rate to spike dramatically compared with prior quiet periods. Over the past week, burn totals in the tens of millions have been recorded, with some days seeing more than 1 million tokens removed from circulation. The number of unique holder addresses has climbed to around 2.88 million, reflecting a broad retail base. However, earlier analyses have shown that large wallets still control sizable chunks of supply, implying that whale behavior can dramatically influence price when they choose to accumulate or sell. From a technical analysis standpoint, many chartists see a multi-month accumulation zone between roughly 700 and 1,000 units, with overhead resistance steps near 1,200, 1,800, and then far above at psychological levels around 3,000 units and beyond. These zones matter when we think about the path toward 5,000 units. With Shiba Inu sitting near 871 units today, the token would need around a 5.5 to 6 times move to reach 5,000 units. That would push its market cap from about $5.1 billion to somewhere near $28 to $32 billion, assuming the circulating supply stays close to current levels. That is a big jump, but not unprecedented in crypto history. More aggressive scenarios suggest even loftier levels, including the possibility of 6,390 units in 2025 and 32,100 units by 2030 if burns accelerate. Shibarium adoption soars, and market sentiment turns extremely positive. However, these projections are framed as optimistic extremes, not guarantees. They require strong execution on technology, community coordination, and favorable macro conditions. Conservative projections, by contrast, see near-term price action remaining anchored around current levels, with only modest appreciation expected through the end of 2025. This highlights a gap: long-term dream scenarios versus short-term reality. The 5,000 unit question sits exactly in the middle, reachable in principle, but far from assured. If Shibarium continues to grow and burns consistently remove meaningful amounts of supply, upward pressure can build over time, but if activity cools again, or if burn campaigns remain too small relative to the 589 trillion unit supply, then even a strong community may not be enough to push price to that next psychological zone. Community trackers highlight that the recent spike in Shibarium transactions is tied to infrastructure improvements, including migration to more robust architecture and hitting a major block milestone. Developers frame this as proof that the ecosystem is shifting from hype toward more stable, usable infrastructure. Burn-focused social accounts celebrate big single-day burns, like the large transaction that removed nearly 180 million tokens from circulation, helping to push the burn rate higher. These moments become viral talking points, even if the absolute burn scale is still tiny relative to total supply. Broader meme coin commentary notes that some holders have rotated from older names into newer tokens, promising easier multiples. But Shiba Inu still benefits from strong brand recognition and a large base of long-term believers. Social feeds remain filled with price targets, burn memes, and calls to hold until life-changing levels, including the familiar dream of reaching and surpassing 5,000 units. Developers rarely promise specific price targets. Instead, they emphasize infrastructure, utility, and partnerships. The unspoken understanding is clear. If the team can grow real usage and the community keeps supporting burns and liquidity, the market will decide whether 5,000 units becomes a milestone on the chart or a story people tell about what might have been. Near-term forecasting models that blend volatility and recent trading ranges suggest a reasonable 1-week to 1-month band for Shiba Inu between roughly 820 and 930 units, with occasional wicks outside that zone if Bitcoin makes a sharp move. A clear daily close above the upper part of that band could open room toward 1,000 to 1,100 units as traders chase momentum. More medium-term outlooks, covering 3 to 12 months, see Shiba Inu grinding gradually higher if Shibarium usage and burn metrics keep improving, with a potential range of 1,300 to 2,200 units under constructive market conditions. In a risk-off environment, or if macro data turns negative, revisits toward 700 to 800 units remain possible. Looking out 2 to 3 years, a strong execution upside path could see Shiba Inu attempting to break a cluster of psychological levels between 3,000 and 4,800 units. That would not only require consistent burns and rising on-chain activity, but also new inflows from investors treating Shiba Inu as more than a pure meme. Key things to watch are daily Shibarium transactions holding above recent lows and trending upward, weekly burn totals moving from tens of millions toward more impactful numbers, and any major exchange, gaming, or payment integrations that lock in recurring demand rather than speculative flips. Every serious analysis of Shiba Inu's tokenomics agrees that the size of the supply is both its defining feature and its greatest hurdle. The dream of massive upside stems from the tiny per-token price, but that same structure means the market cap must expand dramatically for 5,000 units to become reality without extreme reductions in supply. On the risk side, Shiba Inu remains highly sensitive to overall crypto sentiment. If Bitcoin and the wider altcoin market enter another prolonged downturn, even strong burns and ecosystem news may not prevent the token from sliding back toward previous support zones. Regulatory shifts, exchange listing changes, or smart contract risks on Layer 2 could also impact confidence. On the opportunity side, the project benefits from an enormous community, active developers, and a growing Layer 2 solution that can host dApps, games, and DeFi tools. If those pieces succeed and burns scale up, the market can re-rate the token. In that world, 5,000 units becomes less of a fantasy and more of a potential waypoint. For investors, the key is balance. Treat the 5,000 unit target as a speculative scenario, not a guaranteed destination. Position sizing, realistic time horizons, and diversification matter far more than any single magic number. So, will Shiba Inu actually reach 5,000 units, or will it stay a dream born from bull market euphoria? The truth is simple. The data shows a path, but not a promise. Burns, Shibarium, and sentiment will write the next chapters. Until then, manage your risk, protect your capital, and never chase hype blindly. This is your host signing off. Stay sharp, stay focused, patient, and stay addicted to knowledge.